Okay, so I'm just checking. Your issue was that you can't get the images up, and then that's about it, right? Okay. So let's look at your code. You have your assignment one folder here, and this is your assignment 2 folder. May I just close some of these windows so we can see them clearly, then I open them again once we get started on this. Okay. So on your first page, which is your index.html, you're trying to load images, and your images, where are they located? You have them here. They're outside of that folder. Okay, so these are being used in assignment 1, I assume. So what you have to do is, under your static folder, you have to create a subfolder which you name image or img, right? And then you copy the images that you want to use. So let's say you have image 3, image 4. Okay, that doesn't really make sense, but never mind. You will have to name them, so yeah, something that's related to what they are. Apple cake or brownie, right? Something like that. So I copy, I press copy, and I go to image and I paste. So now I have the image 3 and 4 here, right? Please rename them afterwards. And what you have to do is to follow the guide, which is actually explained in the base HTML. So here we actually have a reference for how you can find the folder when you launch your Flask application. So it will generate your web page, and it will actually find the URL for the static, and then we have to define the subfolder and the file afterwards. So you just copy this, and then we fixed it in your index. So let's have a look at that. So here's your index. You're going into the source folder, and we are looking for the static, which is the one here, and we're looking for file name, but let's make the folder img, and then let's use the right file name. And in your case, your file name is image3, right? So let's remove this. Okay, and you do the same for the next image. So in this case, you're just replacing image 4, right? And we save that. Okay, you can do that for the rest of the images. Make sure you copy and paste them into that subfolder. In the static, you would have your style sheet, and you may also have your JavaScript file if you have any, right? Now let's go ahead and start the server. So we go into SP53, your assignment 2, and you have your environment. So let's activate your environment. I assume that you did install all the dependencies, so we're not going to do that now. So let's just run your application. So now it's running. We go to preview running application, and you can see the images is there. Now there's something that you don't need there, so that's the username, and this list. So I remove that, and in your index, you will also remove the user that you're sending into the page, and that was what we defined here as a variable, right? Okay, so running this again, that will clean up that part, and you can start loading your images, right? Now it's a good idea to open it up in an external window so that you can verify on your layout and everything. Okay. That's it, right?
So can you hear me?
Yeah.
So my site is already responsive, right?
Is it? If I set like this, yes, so far it is. The menu is not yet. So there's you have to set the viewport in your metadata, right? Up here you have to set your viewport for the for your file. So that's a metadata that you set, right? So you can see it in this file, right? So basically just set the meta settings. Where we're gonna do that? Okay, we can do it right here. All right, and load the page again. So if I load it, I use Control Shift R. And you see what happens now. Your images are not responsive, so they have to resize accordingly. So what you're missing in your style sheet is the media. Okay, so there is one here. So this one represent the mobile, right? And you can see this is where the menu actually changed its shape. Now, if you go down in the bottom of this media definition, you can then put code in for what has to happen with your images. So you can resize the images here. Okay. So it's images. Okay. So I just commented here, and then you add the code afterwards, right? How's your form? The newsletter. Okay, so the newsletter you still have to update that with the code. So you take some of your code in that you did during the lecture session, and then you add on to this form. Okay, and in the route here you import the data from the newsletter form. Okay. So you need to add on the birth date and product, I think. Yeah. Okay.
So for JavaScript, where do we have to create the
You can create a JavaScript file here. So let me just do that. So you can create it here, and then in your base.html, you can use this same structure. And then you can include it. So I'll just put it in the bottom. Okay, so this one will actually load that JavaScript file on every pages. So every time, whatever page that you have, your style sheet is loaded and your JavaScript is loaded. So then you just put your JavaScript in here. Right?
So I think that's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Good.